All right, so in a short and concise way, I wanted to share my thoughts as to how a prayer works in terms of a literal connection. Like, how is it that when I pray that God hears, and how does He answer? And so basically, my answer is that somehow when we pray, space and I guess the space time continuum is shortened, and the thing that we conceptualize as distance no longer is an issue, and there opens somewhat of a portal where our voice can be heard, whether or not we are speaking audibly or whether we're thinking our thoughts. Our prayer can be heard by someone on the other side. And so now, just to give some context, um, if you haven't already heard of it, there's this experience of a boy named Joseph Smith who, when he was 14, he was visited by God, and he saw God the Father and God the Son and spoke with them. Then 3 years later, as he was kind of wondering where he was supposed to go, what direction to go in, basically he was visited by another messenger, and this time it was an angel. And this angel descended out of heaven into his bedroom. And so the word that Joseph Smith used in his description of that encounter is that he used the word conduit. And a conduit, in my head, is some sort of pathway. And I imagine that that the in the literal sense, how God and Moroni the angel, they both use conduits to visit, and they travel from their heavenly sphere into the earthly realm, the same way that Jesus in Acts chapter 1, how he ascended up into the clouds, and the same way that in the Book of Mormon he descended out of the clouds. I believe that there's a system of these conduits, basically, where space, like I said, space time is shortened, and you can travel from any end of the universe to the other end. Maybe in like the galaxy or universe. I don't know what's the scope of this. So when you're praying and you're really intent on having someone hear your prayer, it kind of helps to know that someone can literally hear you. And so when I pray out loud, I imagine that in an invisible sense, there's a conduit that opens and that someone is on the other side listening. And one thing that you have to understand is that while God knows about you, knows who you are exactly, and knows where you are at all times, sometimes I believe him to be kind of busy, or not like he doesn't care, just that he's literally in charge of the universe. And so I think that at times our prayers are answered by other people that have our best intention, or our best what's it called? Our best um well, basically their intention, their meaning to help us. Basically, they hear our prayer and they either answer it or guide us to an answer, give us help, blessings, comfort, all the things that we ask of God. They're given to us through His messengers, which are angels that are close by us. So that's my best explanation as to how prayer works. For anyone who's skeptical, I think it's so much more plausible to believe in that than to believe in the fact that like your cell phone that you hold in your hand, that when you make a call, that the signal can just be sent from your phone out to a satellite in space that's flying around the earth at like thousands of miles per hour. It pings off a satellite and hits the other phone, and connects the line so that you two can have a conversation. Same thing with texting and all that stuff. The fact that the internet exists, like all that, I find it just as hard to believe as the fact that you can say a prayer and have someone hear you. I just think that because it's not visible, that that people want to choose to not believe in it. But I know for a fact that when I pray, I receive answers. And not only do I receive answers, I receive sometimes extra insight to know, like, as to whether or not I should be praying for more, praying different prayers, or like how my conversation should go. Basically, sometimes um, my state of mind is not in the right space, and I need to be thinking in different terms if I want to communicate with a higher at a higher level with God. So hopefully that explains to anyone wondering like what is prayer actually and what does it do. Some people believe that prayer is just a form of meditation. I believe it to be a literal form of conversation or communication. And the more we practice, the more we get into it, the more we'll be able to receive through that line of communication. Because not only does it go up, it comes down. So when we talk to God, He listens. But we also have to make sure that if He talks, that we need to listen. It goes both ways. So I'm going to repeat that. That when we talk, God listens. But if we listen, God will also talk. So keep that in mind with your prayers, and do your best to also teach other people about prayer, because it's one thing that will help with healing that everyone needs. So that's it for me. Another short video. Hope you guys liked it, and I'll be back for more.